Hello everyone, welcome to the Narcissistic Abuse Healing Series. So I welcome you all to the new video. If you haven't subscribed our channel, just go in for subscribers to get our latest updates. So let's start with what is trauma bonding in narcissistic relationships, how to break the cycle, how to heal from that. So now let's start without wasting the time. So, do you remember the nights when he would whisper apologies, promise change, bring flowers, and then again the cold silence, the sudden jeers, the confusion that followed? She would kneel in the dark, tears pooling and wondering, why am I here? Why does my heart ache for him even when he hurts me? What if the love you crave become the very chain that binds you? Today we are going deep. We'll explore how trauma bonding works in narcissistic relationships, why so many people feel trapped, and most importantly, how you can begin breaking that cycle. Being a clinical psychologist over years, I have sat with survivors who tell terrifying stories of confusion, self doubt, shame, and longing. I know how isolating feels. Okay, so if this resonates, if you have ever asked yourself, why can't I just leave, please subscribe to this channel. I commit to bringing you clinically grounded, compassionate content each week. So in this session, you will learn what trauma bonding is, how it forms, and why it's so powerful, the specific mechanism narcissists use to forge and sustain that bond, and how to recognize in yourself whether you are trauma bonded, and the obstacles that keep people locked in, the actionable strategies to break free, and how to heal from that. What strategies can you use? So this journey is hard, but hope exists, and so does your agency. Okay, so what is trauma bonding? Let's begin with clarity. What is trauma bonding? The term describes a strong emotional attachment that forms in the relational situations involving abuse, power imbalance, and critically intermittent reinforcement, cycles of harm and reward. The classic research work of Eugene and Painter describes how in abusive dynamics victims form emotional ties even while being harmed. Over time, the inconsistent kindness, the good moments become emotionally magnified, the abuse escalates, yet those rare moments drop back in. You might also hear that called trauma bonding for victims. It feels sometimes like addiction, longing, craving, chasing. The brain's reward system becomes hijacked. Small acts of kindness becomes high reward, while pain becomes normalized. The relationships involving narcissism trauma bonding is particularly potent. Narcissistic individuals often deploy intense idealization and love bombing early on, then shifts to devaluation, gaslighting, and withdrawal. These cycles of abuse plus occasional charm lock the victim emotionally. From the emotion attachment, we know that the bond is forged where extremes of affection and abuse alternate, make it hard for someone to differentiate between love and manipulation. Okay. Let me tell you some characteristics of trauma bonding. Okay, you don't want to leave even when you know there is harm. You may defend or condone the abuser's behavior even to yourself or others. You suppress your feelings. You cling to hope that things will return to the way they were. You may feel trapped, paralyzed, and confused. Okay. So, in summary, trauma bonding is not a relational love, but it's an attachment born from trauma. Recognizing that is your first step to breaking free. So, narcissist partners are expert manipulators, okay? They don't always have to know they are doing it. They may operate unconsciously, but their patterns are predictable. Let's walk through the tactics. First is love bombing and idealization. At the beginning, the narcissistic showers you with praise, attention, and compliments, promises. You feel seen, desired, like you are the only one who gets them. This builds emotional investment fast. Devaluation and criticism. Gradually, the tone shifts. Subtle, then overt criticism, blame, undermining become more frequent. Your confidence is chipped away. He might laugh off your feelings, mock you for sensitivity, compare you to others, or simply withdraw emotionally. The third one is gaslighting and reality distortion. Deny what you experienced. Twist your words, claim you are too sensitive, overreacting, or misremembering. The goal is you begin to doubt your own perception. Okay? The fourth one is intermittent reinforcement, push-pull cycles. After abusive episodes, he might say sorry, act kind, and promise growth. This unpredictability of kindness is what keeps you on edge. You cling to hope and stay glued. This is the essence of trauma bond. Then isolation control. He may manipulate your social network, so distrust about your friends, family, disparate your support system. Over time, you rely more on him for emotional validation. Okay? Hovering in promise of change. After distance or separation, he hovers you back, apologizes, claims of transformation, emergencies that require your help. The aim is to pull you back into the cycle. Throughout, there's a power differential, emotional, psychological, and sometimes material. You are being conditioned. Okay? I'll shade a beginning that is anonymized to illustrate, okay? And to tell you how this is depicted, okay? My client, let's call her Sarah, okay? Describe how in the early months her partner will wake at 3 a.m. to text poetry, reminds her, "You are my soulmate." 6 months later, the silence deepened. He stopped answering messages. On a rare night, he would reappear, professing regret, begging forgiveness, and she found herself chasing that return despite the pain. This is classic narcissistic trauma bonding in action, okay? Let me interject our reflection question. Which of these tactics have you experienced? Even small versions count, okay? So you can think of it and you can write down that. Okay, so recognizing the bond in yourself. Now, how do you know you have a trauma bond? Many victims intellectually know that relationship is harmful, but emotionally they feel stuck. Here are the key signs that you should watch. Okay, you rationalize or justify the abuser's behavior to self or others. You cover up or hide the abuse, that is minimization. You monitor or control your own emotions to avoid confrontation. You feel guilt, shame, and self-blame. It's my fault. I provoked him. You obsess over the relationship, thinking of what ifs, replays, hoping for better times. You cling to rare positive moments, crumbs of love. You feel extreme anxiety or emptiness when you try to distance yourself. You have lost parts of your identity, your preferences, boundaries, voice. These signs are not your failure, they reflect how deeply the bond is embedded, okay? Now, the trauma bonding includes sense of threat, alternating cruelty and kindness, isolation, and belief that you can't escape. Trauma bond withdrawal is real. When you try to break away, you may feel panic, cravings, disorientation, similar to an addict withdrawing, okay? That part of why it's so hard to leave, okay? So, If more than four of these sounds resonate deeply with you, you may well be in emotional bond, and the awareness is our power. Okay? So, the most important thing is why it is so hard to break free. Let's confront the question, why can't you just leave? Here are some certain barriers. Okay? Emotional and psychological addiction. The brain becomes wired to crave the heights and numb the lows. You develop compulsive attachment. The bad things are in the relationship is emotional attachment. You are too attached with someone, then they would take advantage of you because they know that now you can't live without them. So, and there is a compulsive behavior of yourself. Okay, so now they start taking you for granted. Neurobiology and reward circuits are dopamine surge. And those intermittent good moments make your brain crave them. Over time, you chase patterns even when harmful. Fear or threat or safety concerns are leaving can provoke danger, emotional retaliation, financial retribution, threats. Many feel trapped by fear. Guilt, shame, and internalized blame. The abuser often positions you as a problem. You internalize blame, thinking, I must fix this. Okay, hope and promises. You hold on to the flicker of change, next time will be better. Practical and structural constraints are financial dependence, shared children, housing, logistics, every real barrier that complicate exist, and a lack of support and disbelief. Many survivors feel isolated. Others may minimize or disbelieve your experience. It's not a failure, it's a battle you are wise to lose unless you get help. So, how to break the cycle? What are the strategies and tools? Now comes the hope part. How to begin breaking that bond. This is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. But with intention, support, and consistency, you can reclaim yourself. Here is a roadmap. Awareness and naming is first thing. You write a trauma journal, track patterns, dates, behaviors, and emotional reactions. Educate yourself, okay? Like this video, books, and workshops, etc. Speak aloud to a trusted friend or therapist. I am in a trauma bond. Wherever you go, wherever person who you are sharing your feelings with some person, make sure that they are a trustful person. Okay. The second thing is boundaries, disengagement, and no contact or low contact. Okay. If possible, adopt no contact, no calls, messages, social media. If no contact is unsafe due to children, shared life, maintain low contact with clear, limited boundaries. Don't allow yourself to be rehovered, no second chance unless you see sustained change, and that's rare. Okay. Try to engage yourself in other productive activities and try to think about other things rather than thinking about just him, because when you would start shift your thinking patterns, your behavior would be aligned towards that, and then you won't pay that much attention to him or her. Okay. And the safety planning, if you fear for your safety, devise exit plan. Okay. An exit plan is entrusted network space, safe spaces, financial backups. Share your plan with someone that is trustworthy. Document evidence of abuse, text, voice notes, photos in a secure backup. Okay. Rebuild external support. Reconnect with support friends, family, communities. Join survivor support groups in person or online. See a therapist. Okay. If you can contact me, just write it down to me in the comment section. And we both can connect. Okay. You can see a therapist, psychologist that specializes in trauma, narcissistic abuse, EMDR, DBT, somatic therapy, etc. Inner work in self-recognition. Cultivate self-compassion. Speak kindly to yourself as you would to someone you love. Engage in inner child reparenting work. Okay. Give yourself what you feel deprived of. Rebuild identity. What do you like? What boundaries do you want? Learn what healthy relationships look like. Mutual respect, emotional safety, and equality. Healing and growth. Expect ups and downs, setbacks, triggers. Recovery is non-linear. Recognize your progress. Small steps matters. Consider forgiveness, not for the abuser, but as letting go of emotional weight. Eventually open to healthier relation paradigms, healthy attachment, mutuality. Okay. I'll offer a reflection exercise, okay, that you guys can do it. List 3 things you would refuse to tolerate now. Example, verbal insults, emotional withdrawal without explanation, like gaslighting. Okay. Write down 3 traits you want in future healthy relationship. Respect, honesty, and reciprocity. And commit. I will practice setting one small boundary this week. Okay. Respect is that thing that everyone needs. Honesty is the foremost element in a relationship. And reciprocity is also really necessary. Okay. So respect and care is the foremost element in love. If these 2 things are present, so then know that he loves you. And if he doesn't respect you, so now if he is he or she, no matter what gender is, just know that you're losing your worth. Okay. And he he is not that worthy. Okay. Now, once the bond weakens, what does healing look like? You'll feel relief, emptiness, fear, but also possibility. You rebuild your voice, your agency, your values. You slowly welcome relationship with safety, not fear. You claim your life again, your dreams, passion, and boundaries. Post-traumatic growth is possible, meaning resilience, deeper self-insight. Healing isn't forgetting. You remember that you don't let pain define you. You became the author of your own story, okay? So, thank you for showing up, for your courage, your willingness to face hard truths. Let me remind you, you are not broken. You are not alone, and healing is possible. If this video moved or helped you, please subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the future content. Share this with someone who might be trapped or hurting. Leave a comment that I am worth more. Let's build a community of support, not silence. Okay, so stay tuned for next videos. Thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you.